Oogly boogly, did I get you? Did I hit you with a jump scare? There are two types of people in this world. People who've lied about something, and people who are lying about having lied about something. Everyone has a moment in life where they do something or lie about something because they think it's a galaxy brain idea, or they're just trying to avoid something negative, and then they live to regret it. Most of the time. And I'm not one of them. See ya, loser! Oh, you're still here? Well, I guess there is something I want to talk about. That time I pretended to be colorblind in the 10th grade. At least I think it was the 10th grade. I don't know, man. I'm fuzzy on the details. But anyway, here we go. It all started in middle school. The grade in which all children age like fine wine. And by fine wine, I actually mean Malort because middle schoolers are nasty. In middle school, we had this science teacher that everyone thought was amazing. And he was basically the product of Batman and Bill Nye the Science Guy having a love child. And he was a part of the group of the coolest teachers I've ever had, and he was colorblind. As you can imagine, he obviously got a lot of attention for this, as people would ask him what it's like to be colorblind, and they would even ask him what color the orange they're holding is.
Hey, Mr. S, what is this color? What is the color of this orange?
Orange?
How did he know?
I saw this, and me, being the attention-hungry little goblin I once was, hatched an evil plan to destroy Gotham. Pretend to be colorblind to shades of orange and yellow, a type of colorblindness that, as far as I know, does not exist. At first I shelved the idea since I had no real motivation to put on those types of theatrics at the time, especially since I'm a terrible actor. I mean, come on, bro, what do I look like, Tom Cavanaugh? Out of my face. But after a while, a person joined our school, a person I am very close friends with to this day. He got the attention of the school and everyone liked him a lot. This is because he's a banger of a person and a downright legend. Now, as I said before, I used to be downright diabolical, and I was admittedly jealous of him. This is when I really started to consider using this plan, and it wasn't until a year or so after that my self-awareness flew out the window and I commenced this deplorable scheme. I waited a while for it to come up naturally, and eventually, Satan provided me with a perfect moment, which is when we were discussing how biological females and males supposedly see shades of color differently as a friend group. Now, it's worth mentioning that at this point, that guy whom I was jealous of was actually my friend, because somehow I was a terrible kid that simultaneously was capable of making friends. Even though we were friends at this point, for whatever reason, I still felt the need to continue with this act. So I did.
You serious?
So I pulled the lever, Kronk, and when orange gradients came up, I started to pretend that the entire screen was one solid color, and that everyone was crazy for seeing a gradient. At the time, I thought this was edgy and mysterious, like if Daredevil was mixed with a cool anime protagonist, but in reality, I think I more resembled that obnoxious guy from Superman. Now, what's really sad is I think they actually believed me, including the friend whom I was trying to outdo, and while although my acting skills were phenomenal, I immediately started to regret having even commenced this endeavor, but it's at this point I was already too deep in the water to turn back, so I figured I'd just keep up the act and eventually it would just fade away by itself. So anyway, it didn't fade away by itself. Every day from that point forward, my friends and colleagues would ask me to look at complex paintings and images with orange and yellow gradient variations, and I'd have to pretend that I couldn't see the colors.
Acting.
After a while, it became exhausting, and I definitely deserved it. If there's a god, he was definitely in the front row seat of the Reaping What You Sow show that I was hosting, and all the angels were throwing forbidden fruits at me. Eventually, the friend I was jealous of and I got closer and closer to the point where I couldn't just live with it anymore, and I gave up the ghost. I messaged him the following night about my lie, confessing that it was all just a ruse to get attention, and that I deeply regretted what I did. To be honest, I fully expected him to be angry with me and not want to talk to me anymore, and he would have been so justified in doing so, but instead he was super kind and understanding about it, and I think we became even closer after that day. After that point, I had to confess to other people one by one about it, and it was absolute torture, bro, but I learned an extremely valuable lesson over those next few months, and I think I've overall grown a lot since that time. I'm putting this out there because I think that this has the potential to help some people, as I think that making mistakes is just an inevitable part of the human experience, and that making them can only make us better if we choose to learn and grow from them. Choosing to recognize our own shortcomings and openly speak about them is, at least to me, incredibly important for developing as a person, and hopefully my incredibly diabolical example will show some people of what not to do, and also help some people out of situations they're already in. Now, I want to make it clear that in my case, I got lucky. I'm unbelievably blessed to have the type of friends that I do, the type of friends that can forgive you for stuff like this and look past your actions to see who you are or who you are trying to be. In my case, the guy that I was envious of ended up being one of my bestest friends in the entire world to this very moment. A person that I hold a lot of respect and love for. And if he's watching this, and I know he's watching this since he tends to watch my videos for the memes, you know who you are. Now, unfortunately, that may not be the case for other people. If you do have something terrible or goofy that you're lying about and you want to come clean to someone, expect literally anything, and don't be disappointed if the outcome isn't as great as you intended it to be. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try at all. Whatever the outcome may be, it's good to reflect on ourselves and try to be the best version of ourselves that we can be at the end of the day. I think that this goes without saying, but I'll throw it in here anyway. People may also react differently depending on what you're lying about. For example, if I told my friends that I have 20 dead girlfriends in my basement, then it would be a completely different story. I think you get the idea. Hopefully this helps someone out there, and if none of this applies to you, then I hope you enjoyed this incredibly cringe story. The type of cringe that makes your face scrunch up harder than any sour candy could ever dream of doing. Alright, I'll get off my moral soapbox now. Thank you for watching, and that is the end. Bye bye!